Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Alrighty, I want to welcome everybody out today to episode 330 of I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for downloading the podcast, checking out the show. We got a great episode for you, but first of all, you might notice that my trusty co-host, my trusty sidekick, my beautiful wife, Chrissy, she is normally here as well to introduce everybody to the podcast. She is in Wisconsin right now visiting family, so I have to carry the torch, continue the podcast, introduce the podcast, welcome you to the show. We're recording this today out of our studios at Access Co-working Spaces right in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City. If you have never been here, I invite each and every one of you to come on down, check it out right on the corner of 200 South, 200 West, Access Co-working Spaces. Come on in, check it out. Tell them that you heard about it on I Am Salt Lake podcast. Hey, today on the podcast, Chrissy and we sit down with Maharba. She is the Salsa Queen. She talks about all of the salsa she's created, her business, the obstacles, what motivates her, what drives her. She's got a great story. We're going to play that here in just a minute. I, of course, want to tell you about our awesome sponsors, Taylor Cooperative, Five Wives Vodka, and Host Gator. I'm going to tell you about these awesome businesses a little bit later on in the podcast. Hey, if this is your first time here, thank you so much for downloading the show. Might I invite you to kind of dig through the back catalog? We've been chatting with some amazing people here in Salt Lake City. Business owners, authors, musicians, artists, people that are doing really cool events. You can find all of the episodes right on the website, iamsaltlake.com. You can listen to them right there. You could subscribe. We have an email list that you can sign up for. Head on over there, iamsaltlake.com. Great website. This is the best way to keep in touch with everything that we have going on here in the podcast. With all of that being said, let's cut the chit chat though. Let's jump into that conversation that we had with Maharba when she came over to our office and got to share her story. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy. Well, let's get going. Where did you grow up? Where's home? I mean, I'm curious kind of about your childhood a little bit. I mean, because you weren't born and raised obviously in Utah.
No, I was born in Mexico, in Monterrey. And I was 17 years old when we moved here to Utah. So I came here with my parents and my brother and sister, and we've been here for 30 years.
Why did your family come here anyway?
It's like for a lot of immigrants, is to follow the dream, right? To chase the dream, a better life, a better future, a better, future for your kids and the family. So yeah, we came from Mexico, and then my dad got his citizenship by the amnesty that they had, back in the day. So my mom, my brother, and sister, they automatically became citizens.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Why is that?
Because I was 18 years old at the time.
Okay.
So yeah,
so you weren't under the umbrella.
I was not under the umbrella.
Oh.
So yeah, So anyway, yeah, so we were here for a while, and then I became a single mom. I had a baby that when I was 19 years old, I gave birth to a baby, and he was born with leukemia. We pretty much lived at the hospital for his whole 19 months of life, and he passed away. He had leukemia. He had a bone marrow transplant. I was the donor, and
you were 19 years old having to deal with
it.
Wow.
Yes, that was really tough. That was really tough. And at the hospital, I spent his entire life at the hospital.
Yeah.
So there was this guy there, and he was a volunteer. And I met him there, and we just became friends. And then one thing led to another, and we ended up getting married. So it was just, he was so supportive of my journey at the time. And it was hard not to fall in love with somebody that it was there for you no matter what.
Have you always been interested in cooking? I mean,
I have cooked since I was 8 years old. I was the only child for 10 years. So my mom always made me,
She taught you how to cook
very
and-
involved in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And since I was 8 years old, I've been cooking.
And you love it.
That's been a passion of mine, our culture too. You show your love through food.
Right.
It's like if you cook for somebody, it's like you really care about those people and you really love them. So what better way for me to show my love and at the time a necessity to provide for my family to create this product.
I think though, and maybe I'd be curious what your thoughts are, the both of you. I think cooking is a lost art. I think
it's definitely getting lost.
We live in a society in a way of life where it's like just go through the drive-through at McDonald's or Wendy's, and people don't know how to cook at home. They don't know how to use ingredients, to read a recipe book, a cookbook, and then here you come out with this amazing line of, you got queso and salsa and
creamy jalapeno
and gourmet tomato, which I'm going to put a link for Salsa Queen, obviously at I Am Salt Lake with this, because I want all the listeners to seriously check out all of your product. We're going to get into how it all started, obviously, here. Where should we start, Christy? Should we start with how
the funny thing that you were saying about like all these fast food places, I was driving around, was it this morning or yesterday? And I was driving around and I was seeing, can I name some names?
Sure.
Panda Express, Carl's Jr., all of those fast food that, they're not even that healthy for you.
No.
But
they're terrible for you.
They make it big. And I was wondering, what is the key for these chains of restaurants that they're so unhealthy for us that they make it so big and we fall for it? Because, I have to be honest, sometimes when you're in the rush, you go and have Panda Express or you have Taco Bell and things like that. And it's like, okay, well, I'm a supportive. So there's a lot of supportives out there. And it's just hard for most of us because, we're working parents, so we want something easy and fast and cheap.
Well, it's true. The cost is huge when you're a working parent. The time is huge. You have to just quickly get sustenance to everybody so that you can keep doing the things you need to do. I think that's why cooking is kind of a lost art form because we don't have the time anymore.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head, Chrissy. We live in a world of energy drinks, as you have a rock star sitting on the table
No, I don't.
there.
What are you talking about?
Well, it's because we don't have 9 to 5 jobs anymore, right?
Yeah.
And both parents are working, husband and wife are working. Correct. They're not able to making a dinner at home takes time, and so it's easier to just go to fast food and grab burgers for everybody.
It is.
How did this start? Because you have 7 kids, 8 kids?
I have 7 kids.
And I was reading that online and I'm like, how did you start this business? I got one I got one baby at home right now, right? That I'm watching.
And we're like, we can't do anything.
You are. What are you talking about? You're here with me.
Yeah, well, no, exactly, which I'm grateful. But how long ago? Share the story from the beginning. How did this start?
So after I got divorced twice. When I came here to America, I didn't have the opportunity to finish high school because of the language barrier. Yeah. They were asking me for some papers. I didn't know what they were asking for. I didn't know at the time that, you can go to school no matter your status here in this country. Oh. So because of that, I wasn't able to finish high school.
So did you speak English?
No, I did not.
See, I didn't even catch that.
So you had to self-teach?
Yes.
Wow.
So I had no education whatsoever of English or college or even high school. Well, I didn't finish it. So I got married and I started having lots of kids. And, I found myself in a safe place, right? I'm here. I'm a mom. I'll take care of my kids. I don't have the need to work. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case anymore nowadays. So I got divorced twice. So the second time that I got divorced, I'm like, what am I going to do? And at the time, I had in the past, we were struggling financially and we had lived out of food stamps and the government and this and that. And I thought after I became divorced for the second time, I said, I will not have this life. I have to make a change, an example for my kids. So, I met my third husband and, he was such an inspiration for me. He believed in me when nobody else did, even myself. So, he asked me, hey, what would you like to do? And I was like, I have no idea. at the time, I didn't think that I had any talents or any gifts. So I'm like, I'm a mom, and that's it. So he inspired me a lot, and we were talking. He knew I liked to cook. So we talked about some options. We became, I felt very passionate about doing something that he felt in my heart.
Yeah.
Something that he spoke my culture. And I'm like, what about salsas? And I knew some other people that they were making salsas. I don't know if you guys know Jorge Fierro.
Oh, from
Rico's.
Rico's. My mind went blank.
Yes.
He's actually a big listener of the show, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah. So hello, Jorge.
I love him. Yeah. Hooray for Jorge. He was my mentor for a while, and he was a great, example for me, and he was a big cheerleader. So between my husband and him, they were a big support for me to create this. And I remember the first time we're like, okay, now that I know that I want to make salsas, what's going to be the name? And my husband at the time, my boyfriend, said, what about Salsa Queen? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so cheesy. No way, like, no way that's going to be Salsa Queen. But and then I went to a networking event, and then somebody asked for my contact information. And he said, okay, give me a name that I can remember. And I'm like, Salsa Queen.
That's
and then,
so great.
It's just stayed.
It's catchy, man.
It is so catchy. And, we love it. And everywhere I go, it's like, it's the Salsa Queen. It's not Marharba. Hey, there's the Salsa Queen. So,
So that's how you're known in Salt Lake City is as the Salsa Queen. Now, did you mention approximately how long?
4 years ago.
So 4 years ago, you started this entire
at the farmers market.
That was your first
farmers market.
The downtown one at Pioneer Park?
The one in Wheeler Farm.
Wheeler Farm.
Okay. Yes, they were so awesome. And so my kids and I will get together and make a mess in the kitchen of salsas and start packaging them. Everybody. From my 2-year-old at the time to my 15-year-old at the time, they were all involved in the process and making of the salsa, and we will all take off and start, selling it. And every weekend we were selling out, and it was like, oh my gosh, like for the first time in my life, I believed that something great could happen out of this product. So,
what was your first salsa that you created? Because you obviously don't, like, I have 5 different flavors here that I'm looking at right now.
Pico de Gallo.
So the Pico de Gallo was the first one. When did the others start coming into play?
So through the journey of 4 years, I have done many different kinds of salsa, but I thought, okay, I need to grow. And my husband, he has so much vision.
Sure.
And, he said, you know what? You need to be in stores. So I thought, okay, let me see what salsas are going to sell the best.
Right.
And then I can introduce those to the stores.
Yeah.
So then, these were the final 5.
And you can get these in stores?
You can get them pretty much every single store. So I started 4 years ago at one farmers market, and then I did 3 farmers market, Park City and the Canyons too, up in Park City. And then I went into some local stores. And the thing for me is I don't take a no for an answer.
That's a good trait.
Yeah. Like what it was a weakness for me or like a bad habit, like I was very stubborn and like, oh no, it has to be my way, it has become a strength. And it's just so nice to see how a lot of things that you thought that they were faults are such a gift, So I remember one time when I went to this local store, one of my first stores, and it's called The Store. We're still there. We still sell it there. And
it's called The Store.
The Store up in Holiday. Yeah, Holiday area.
I've never been there.
It is. They have fine food. It's like a gourmet store. So I thought that our salsas will fit their profile perfectly because we're specialized in the best quality. They're not watered down. They're very
authentic and good quality.
Yes, it is. So I went there one time and she told me, I said, hey, I have this product. Will you let me in your store? And she's like, we just got these new salsas. Get back to me next week. So next week I went back, but I went back already to sample. I wasn't like going for an answer. I'm like, hey, Amy, I'm here and I'm ready to sample. So she's like, oh, Marharba, how can I say no to you? And that was the beginning of our first stores.
Yeah.
And then I just got lucky with, the bigger chains as Smith's
and Harmon's,
Macy's, Dan's, fresh markets.
Wow, you really are in all of them. A lot of people I bring through here, they're only in Harmon's. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder to get into the bigger chain ones. I mean, Harmon's is more locally based and they carry a lot of locals. How did you get yourself everywhere?
So, when you
she doesn't take no for an answer.
Well, that's
Chrissy.
obviously the reason.
But you know how they said that, how do you say when you don't know something, like
When you don't know something?
Play
Play
you're
dumb.
in ignorance.
Oh,
ignorance is
yeah.
bliss.
Ignorance, yes.
Ignorance
yes,
is bliss. Yes.
So that was a great thing for me too. You have to take a lot of advantage of that. But I was lucky enough to contact somebody from Smith's, the right person that was going to be the buyer for my salsas. And I talked to him and I was telling him a little bit about my story, that we made salsas. And he's like, we have a lot of salsas. But I said, hey, these are fresh salsas. He said, oh, they're fresh. And I said, yeah. He said, oh, that was a Friday. And he said, why don't you come on Tuesday? And I'm like, okay. I had no idea where I was going. I was wearing like my Mexican flower in my hair and my Salsa Queen apron. And, I had no idea. When I started getting closer, I saw that it was corporation for Kroger's. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? What am I thinking?
That's so great. You're making an impression.
Not dressed properly, right? I mean,
that is the way to make an entrance and an impact.
Right?
Yes.
Right. And with my Costco bag.
Oh, geez.
Okay. To Kroger's. So I go there. I meet with Lynn. And then we get to the office and I'm opening the salsas. And as I'm opening my salsas, I'm telling him a little bit of my story.
Sure.
I'm a single because at the time I was a single mother still. I'm a single mother of 7 kids. And this is how I provide for my kids. And my kids and I make these salsas and they're gourmet and they're, they're all healthy. They have no preservatives or sugar added. There's options for vegans, so the whole thing. So as I was opening them, he tried our pico de gallo and he said, Marba, you're in. And like within 5 minutes, there were like 15 people into the office and he's telling them, okay, she's going to get into the store. We need you to make some space for Salsa Queen and this and that. And I was like, wait. What's going on? What's happening?
Oh, wow.
And
Better go home
know.
and start cooking.
Yes. And he said, you better hire some other people besides your kids. And I was like, I guess so. So I was talking to the admin, his admin, and she said, Marba, in 17 years that I have worked here, this has never happened. So make sure to take care of your space. And I have made sure to take care of my space in every single store that we're in. We're just so humble and proud for this opportunity that they have given to us that is not given just to everybody. And I don't want to say just to everybody, but not everybody gets us lucky or blessed to
get the opportunity.
Have you hired more than just your kids, or you and the kids still just doing it all?
Yes, you know what? And that like something so, like I started this company to provide for myself and my kids. And 4 years later, we're not only providing for us, but for other families. So we have like 30 people working for us now. And I'm just so thrilled. And we have such a great team and everybody's just so wonderful. So wonderful. They just love the product and we all love each other. So I am so blessed to.
Yeah, a lot of people can't say
here.
that.
Yeah, no.
It's so wonderful to be able to employ people and help and see what you're doing affect other people positively.
Yes. And one thing that I feel like we do different than a lot of other companies is that it's not just me. It's not about me and my kids. It's about everybody else that works with us, So I brought in a partner like a year ago because, I can do so much, but I needed somebody that could do business.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my husband introduced me to a friend of his and he came aboard and the company has exploded.
Really?
It has gone amazing because he has a knowledge that I didn't have. And you know what? Smart people, don't they say that's me? Smart people hire people that they don't know what themselves are.
That's so
right?
true.
What
It's
about
so
it
true.
exploded? Like what exploded?
For example, when he came in, I was in 12 stores.
Yeah.
Within a year or 18 months, between a year and 18 months, we have grown to 70 stores.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, you're out of Utah too, or no, just in Utah?
We're just in Utah right now, and we're exploring other areas.
And this isn't probably something that you could really mail order, I guess.
Actually, let me tell you about it. Because my husband, he's so passionate about me, about the salsa, about the business.
Which is great. I mean, to have a supportive partner like that. I mean, that's what I'm blessed with Chrissy.
He's the most amazing guy I could have ever found. He is a loving, supportive, patient, amazing man.
Yeah.
It's like I've been blessed. But he has, his vision is huge. And he said, Marba, what if we start shipping the salsa? And I'm like, no. I mean, that's so much hassle.
Yeah.
Well, he's been doing his homework the last 2 weeks, and he made his first shipment 2 days ago.
So just recently?
Just 2 days ago.
So can listeners do it then, or are we just testing it? You're just testing it?
Yeah, we're just testing right now. We're happy to announce that the salsa got there at a perfect temperature, and it got there safe and everything. So this is our first step.
So great.
To start exploring the market outside Utah without having to,
Well, because we have a lot of listeners that live out of Utah.
Yes.
They live, Pennsylvania and California and Arizona.
And it's coming.
I would love to ship this. Well, so people, listening, obviously, follow your website, follow you on Facebook, and then maybe they can order some of this.
Yes. So
Salsa
stay
Queen.
tuned, because it's coming up sooner than I thought, and he's making it happen. So I'm very, very excited for his willingness to explore this,
How great to have everyone around you really be so involved and so passionate that you don't have to be doing everything.
Exactly.
You can just do the parts that you love, and it's growing organically.
We need to actually take a quick break, play a message here from our sponsors. So when we're done with that, we'll be right back with Marharba and find out more about the Salsa Queen. So hang tight. All right, it's the time of the podcast where we take a few minutes of your time and tell you about our awesome sponsors. These are some great businesses that are helping support the podcast. So when you go out and support them, you're supporting us here at the podcast. Hey, this episode of the podcast is sponsored by Taylor Cooperative. They're located right in the heart of downtown Salt Lake City, and they're going to make you a suit that actually fits you. Not those bulky suits that you get from suit shops in the mall. These are suits that are custom fitted to fit you. We all run into those times where we need a nice suit, whether it's for a job interview, whether it's for a wedding, maybe you're going out for a night on the town. We all need a nice custom fitted suit. This is where Taylor Cooperative comes in. Head on over to their website, taylorcooperative.com. Schedule yourself a fitting. They're going to get you fitted for a suit, and they're going to get you set up with a suit that you're actually happy with. I know a lot of you have never gotten a fitted suit, including myself. So let me kind of tell you a little bit about the process. It's not as intimidating as it sounds. Like I said, head on over to their website, taylorcooperative.com, schedule a fitting. It's a really simple and easy process. They have an amazing fabric selection, which they'll let you look through. They'll talk to you about your personal style, and then they're going to take your measurements. It's actually a really fun, informative fitting, and it's very, very relaxed. They're not going to, intimidate you or make you feel bad for, the dad bod. But the end result is going to be a high quality suit that's made specifically to your measurements and style preferences. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing better than a nice fitted suit. The first step, of course, you got to schedule a fitting. Head on over to their website, taylorcooperative.com. And when you go in, say, hey, I heard about you guys on I Am Salt Lake podcast. Thank you so much for sponsoring those guys. I love that podcast. Hey, this episode of the podcast is sponsored by our friends at Five Wives Vodka. Hey, when you're in other states like Texas, you can get away with drinking Tito's. But when you're here in Salt Lake City, I better be seeing you drinking a Five Wives Vodka. So the next time you head out to your local bar or your state liquor store, make sure to ask for Five Wives. It's going to be there. You're going to go home. You're going to be happy. I mean, you're going to impress your neighbors, your friends when you show up with a Five Wives vodka. They actually have 3 different flavors. A lot of people only know about the original flavor, but they got 2 other flavors. I want to tell you about them. They have the original Five Wives vodka, which is made from Utah mountain spring water. It's 100% distilled corn spirit, and it's gluten-free, which is important to me. The spring is hidden up in beautiful Ogden Canyon. It's inaccessible by vehicle, so they're actually hiking out this water 5 gallons at a time. They also have a Five Wives Sinful, which is a flavored vodka with a delicious cinnamon taste. Unlike those other cinnamon products that give you that cinnamon candy aftertaste, Sinful is like a morning cinnamon roll with only 76 calories per ounce. There's also the Five Wives Heavenly, which is a flavored vodka with a delicious vanilla taste. Heavenly's rich, buttery vanilla flavor, it comes through without coating your taste buds with all the sugar, which results in more vanilla and less calories. So again, the next time you're at your local state liquor store, the local DABC, make sure to pick up a bottle of Five Wives vodka. Perfect for barbecues in the summertime. Maybe you're going out for a picnic. Maybe you're even going up for a concert up the canyon. Make sure to take a bottle of Five Wives vodka. You can head on over to their website, fivewivesvodka.com, where you can find out more information about them and get recipes and whatnot. And many thanks to Five Wives Vodka for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. All right, this episode of the podcast is sponsored by HostGator. You know, every business, every small business, you need a website. Far too often, I hear people say, you know what, I'm on Facebook. I don't need a website. This is totally untrue. A website does not have to be intimidating. We all need a home on the web. We need a place to send people to. And this is where HostGator comes in. They are one of the world's most popular web hosting companies for a reason. They offer guaranteed 99.9% uptime, an excellent user-friendly interface via cPanel, and excellent pricing. Head on over to their website, hostgator.com. Enter in the promo code IamSaltLake, all one word. This is going to give you like your first month for only a penny. They have a free website builder, 4,500 templates for you to pick from, 24/7, 365-day technical support. They offer unlimited email addresses. You know, and we've been hosting IamSaltLake.com for almost 6 years through HostGator, so I can speak with confidence when I tell everyone to, host your website through HostGator. Again, use the promo code IamSaltLake. Head on over to HostGator.com. Get all set up for your website, and you're going to get your first month for only a penny. IamSaltLake, all one word. Enter in that promo code at HostGator.com. You're going to get set up for only a penny, and then you're going to send an email to Chrissy or I and say, thank you so much for telling me to get a website, because your business is just going to boom. I guarantee it. Anyway, many thanks to HostGator for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Let's get back into that conversation that we had with Maharba, the Salsa Queen, as we get to find out her story. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this episode of the podcast. We'll get back here. What's been your least favorite thing about doing all of this? I mean, there's got to be one thing or two things that you're just like, that is the worst part of being in business for myself or making salsa.
Oh, wow. That's a tough question. I am very positive person, so it's hard for me to focus on the bad because I just been so blessed. So how can I say something went bad? But, if I want to go back a little bit farther, like back when I was doing it all by myself, it was tough, making the salsas pretty much all by myself,
Mm-hmm.
Probably long days, too.
Long days. I felt like my hips were going to burst, without giving birth. But yeah, so it's my baby, right? It's like, I feel like I gave birth to the baby because
put all
it was
of that labor into it.
Painful. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that my husband brought a partner in, just because he knew either I was going to have a breakdown or.
Let's talk about that partner for a minute. Okay. Cause I'm curious, cause I would be curious to know how it is. Was that tough for you? Because I look at even this podcast, even bringing Chrissy at first, and I'm sure she'll agree with this. It's hard to start letting somebody else do the work because you feel like you're the only one who could do it good.
Well, you feel like you have a specific vision, and when someone else comes in and has a slightly different vision or passion, then you feel like they're going to ruin what you've created.
Oh, yeah.
Was it hard?
It was. Actually, right there, that was the hardest part of the business, letting somebody else come into my baby and taking care of my baby. It's like.
So how did you do it? What did you do? You just had to
You know what? It was a struggle. It was a struggle. We got into many arguments.
You and the partner
Oh,
did.
yes. And you know what? He knew that because, he knew it was my baby and it was a family-owned business. So he knew that it was going to be a challenge. But even though he was still willing, and I always loved him and I will love him forever because he believed in me.
Yeah.
I took it as he believed in me. It's like, there's this guy that he has all these degrees, all this knowledge, and he's coming to partner with this single mom that has no idea what she's doing, and he believes in me.
And is he still a pretty big support, I guess?
Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
I call him my other husband. So, when I say my partner, he's my partner, my business partner, but probably him and I have fought more than my husband and I. Just because, it is hard.
You have to work out so much.
It is so hard. But, my husband, one of the things that my husband always told me, because when you start your own business, you become so close-minded and so greedy in a way that, you don't trust anybody.
Right.
Well, if I work longer hours, the money is going to be mine, instead of somebody else. And then he said, Marharba, if you do not let other people come in and help you, you'll never grow.
Yeah, it's
And
impossible.
I hear that all the time.
grow.
It's still hard, though.
Yeah.
It's still, I even look at, again, back, I'll use all my examples to let somebody else do it. You're like, you won't do it as good as me. It's gonna
like you're afraid you'll sacrifice quality. You're afraid you'll sacrifice image. And there's so many things that you could go wrong if you're not in control.
Exactly. So that's been my toughest challenge as a business owner. But I feel like we're in a good place right now. I have great people that they care so much for the product within the company that there's no reason for me not to trust them, and if you show them love and kindness, of course they're going to care more, right?
Yeah. If you care about their personal growth while they're with you,
and
they're going to give back.
One thing that we have done different than a lot of other companies is, like I was saying earlier, it's not about me. It's not about my partner. It's not about us making money. It's about all of us, everybody in our team. So the people that are closer, in our team, like the managers and all of that, they all have a piece of Salsa Queen. So, we have a pool of equity and everybody got a piece of it, because they feel that they're part of it. They're going to care more about it. They're going to invest more in it because it's theirs too.
It's their future too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Do
great.
you think you'll ever take this to Shark Tank or something big like that? I don't know, right?
My partner always laughs about that. He's like, oh my gosh, you and your Shark Tank. I did apply one time and I was not taken.
Really?
So I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So I'm going to try again. Like I said, I don't take a no for an answer.
Do they tell you why they didn't accept you? Or I've never applied.
They don't give you details, but they have so many people applying.
Sure.
So next time when I make my video and send it out, it's going to be more compelling and more fun, probably. Maybe I need a more interaction or something. But
lots of bright lights and flashing things.
Exactly. Yeah. Salsa Queen dancing, right? So
the long-term goal would be to get this in all the grocery stores, like everywhere, I guess.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So right now we are from Thanksgiving Point, farther.
Maybe down to Provo or...
Right now we're from Thanksgiving Point to North Ogden.
Okay.
And
wow.
from Park City all the way to Magna. So you can go into any Smith's, any Harmon's, any other store, Dan's, Fresh Markets, Macy's, and you will find us there. And our way to market our salsas, because, we're still growing. We don't have the capital to have, billboards and have commercials.
Yeah.
So what we're focusing is, because it's such a good salsa, we hire samplers, right?
Okay.
And so they go to each store and they sit there, with their table. Well, they don't sit there, but they stand there with the table and, they explain a little bit of the story about our product. They try it and people fall in love with it, and then that's how we get our customers. So that's how we spend our marketing money into getting people to go out there, sampling our salsas so people can actually try it.
See, that's great because that's like word of mouth marketing, basically.
Yes.
And that's always the most efficient.
Are you going to be doing any farmers markets this year, or do you do farmers markets anymore?
We're thinking about it. We have been growing so fast in the last few months that it's been almost impossible to focus on that. But we do want to come back and, start again and doing the farmers market. That's where we started, and that's where we want to be eventually again. But right now, like I said, is just we're focusing on the growth.
And you have to, if you try to bite off more than you can chew, sometimes it actually becomes
More
a
of a
bad
problem.
thing. You got to take it as you can take it.
Yeah.
I guess.
So are your kids still involved?
Some of them, they still work with Salsa Queen, they're still there. But, they go to school, they have other jobs and things like that. But, one way or another, they're involved.
They're still involved.
It's
I mean,
still
they're
their
kids, they're
childhood,
family.
right?
Yeah. And, I love it when they come to the house, and we're having dinner and they're like, oh, Mom, you have no idea how many friends we have that, they open the refrigerator and they have Salsa Queen there. And it's like, oh, that makes me so happy. It makes me happy to make people happy.
Yeah.
And what a better way than, through the belly, right? It's like,
It's the way to everyone's heart.
exactly.
So you teach cooking too, right? We were talking
Yes.
about that before we were recording.
I saw you do a segment where you taught la leche cake.
Tres leches.
Tres leche. See, I don't.
I know that one
but
has nothing to do with the
looks delicious.
salsas, right? But it was amazing. So what I try to focus on doing is for, all working parents, right? We don't have the time to cook nowadays, feels like it. And I give the parents or our viewers an easier option. You can still cook healthy and easy and fast with our salsas. So I have created so many dishes that you can make them really in 5 minutes. Sometimes when I go do my cooking segments, I feel kind of silly because it's like, okay, you just put this and you're done. So it is so easy, but it just is so convenient for us, to be able to have a good product that you can cook with, easy and healthy. So,
So you teach cooking classes or just on the TV, on the
just
news?
on TV. I do cooking segments. I've been doing it for 3 years and a half on Channel 2 KUTV, and they're a family to me. They have like
What time of the day is that on?
it's on Fresh Living, so it's like just
All over the place.
It's all over the place. So yeah, unfortunately, I cannot give you a time, but we have a lot of those segments on my website, and it's salsaqueen.rocks, and you can find all our cooking segments there. Or even if you go on KUTV, you can find all our cooking segments there, and they are so easy and so delicious. And even the kids, I have 7 kids, so I like to get the kids involved too. And these are recipes that the kids can make themselves do.
And I bet
That's
you
so nice.
getting that segment on Channel 2 helped with sales too. I mean,
Yes.
because it gives you exposure.
Definitely. Yeah.
And if you know you can grab that and grab some chicken and make some easy dinner, you're going to go do it,
Exactly. Oh,
especially
yes.
if you're a working
Throw it
mom.
in the crock pot. Let's do that.
Oh,
Chrissy.
yeah.
Let's,
Yeah. You like spicy?
Oh, I love spicy.
Okay,
I'm
so-
I haven't always loved spicy. Okay. What does that happen when you get older? Like I hated
Maybe your
spice
taste buds
before.
slowly
Now
die
it's-
off as
now
you're
it's
getting
like,
older, so you need
give me
spicier
as
and
spicy
spicier?
as I
I
can
don't
get.
like spicy.
You don't like spicy?
I don't like
Really?
spicy. I don't. I know.
Isn't that
I'm
like-
such a wimp. I'm a Mexican wimp.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's big in the Mexican culture,
I know,
isn't it?
but
Spice.
yeah, it is. And everybody that knows that I don't like spicy, they're like, what's wrong with you? Even my kids can handle spicier more than I can. But yeah, I have made my salsas accordingly to my taste.
Is this
buds.
is this creamy jalapeno?
They sound like my
pretty
kind of
spicy?
salsas.
Is that pretty spicy?
You know what? They're spicy, but they're not like, oh my gosh, I cannot keep eating this because it's
Yeah.
burning my tongue.
Yeah, they don't
It's
burn your gums
spicy,
off.
But you can still enjoy it and just keep
Yeah.
eating
Yeah,
it.
this is great ingredient. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, your ingredients. I mean, gosh, this is just.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to try it.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
Oh, I
what,
can't
what
wait to
piece of
try it.
advice? What would you give listeners that maybe wanted to start a business? Any business. I mean, there's got to be a piece of business advice that you would give a listener.
You know what? I think if you have this set of mind, to me was, and I'm not bashing anybody here or putting anybody down, but with 7 kids, either work at McDonald's or Walmart and not being able to afford supporting my kids, or I was going to start something on my own.
Yeah.
So to me, it was always like, I have no choice but make this successful. So it wasn't like, okay, well, if it doesn't work, I go back to my nursing or I go back to, because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I didn't have the opportunity. So to me, it was like, this is going to happen because it's going to happen.
You had
Whether
no-
everybody else likes
You
it or
had no
not.
choice. It was
Yeah.
make it or break it. I mean,
Exactly. So, if you kind of help yourself having a mentality like that, if you have the passion and the support and the love of whatever it is, make it happen and network a lot. I could have not made this happen by myself.
Yeah.
There's no way.
So you like network, get out
Get out, talk to people. You know, here in Salt
everywhere.
Lake, there's so many networking events almost every night. And there's great people out there, you know, who wants to help, you know, and I'm here to help anybody that wants to be helped, you know? So
Do you find that, do you just have an idea and do it? Or do you think about things for a while? I mean, sometimes I think a lot of us who have ideas that want to do things, we will worry and think instead of acting. What's your tendency?
well, like I said, to me, it was necessity. So it had to happen.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, most of us, you know, we're in a safe place. We're comfortable.
Right.
Why do I have to bother when there's something greater out there for you that is waiting for you, but you don't feel confident or you don't have the need?
Or you're not good enough. You know, I don't deserve this.
Even imposter
or
syndrome.
I'm scared of success. I was scared of success, you know, but like
How did you
said,
overcome that? I guess
She had no
you just
choice.
had to.
She had no
I guess you have the
choice,
answer.
Tracy. She
Yeah.
no choice.
that was my thing. I had no choice.
Yeah.
And, you know, like every time I would think like, oh my gosh, can you imagine when I'm in a store or something? And just things started happening so gradually, so fast that I didn't have time to inhale that, you know, like the success and just hiring people and bringing people and all of that sometimes I have to stop myself and think about how much we've done in such a short time and just be so grateful and, you know, I get so overwhelmed of happiness and just gratefulness of having what I have and done what we have done. But like I said, there's no way I could have done it by myself. So you always need a team of people that they're there to mentor you, to help you. You know, don't be scared of bringing somebody else to help you. You know, there's always two brains work better than one.
Yeah.
No, and I agree. I mean, since I brought in Chrissy on the podcast, I mean, this thing has just exploded.
That is awesome. She's such a beautiful lady.
She really
He's
is.
just trying to keep me around by saying that.
No. What?
He knows how to do it.
We all have those times where we don't feel, you know, motivated to do this. What do you do when you get into those moments, Marba? I mean, do you find, like, you know, we all have those times where it's
just wanna give up,
meditation or reading a good book
Or watching a movie
watching
all
a
day,
movie.
the same one, The Greatest Showman.
Is that your
that's
favorite
a
movie?
good
Oh my
movie.
gosh, I am obsessed with that movie. In a week, I watched it 10 times.
No kidding.
That is
And
so
I
great.
download that. You know, that movie is so inspirational. You know, if you're a business owner or just, you know, a living person, you can connect to the movie in so many different levels because you see the passion of this guy wanting to have something happen for his family.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted his family to have everything and he worked hard and the vision he had and the drive he had to make those things happen. And, you know, I mean, he brought a partner in, right, too?
That's true.
He
He did,
wasn't
yeah.
just himself. He had a whole team of people that was there and he loved them and he took care of them and it went right back to him.
I need to watch that movie again.
We do need to.
We saw it in the theater, right?
was- yeah, it
so
was
we only
so
saw it the
good.
one time in the theater. But
No.
But
It
I
is
love that
amazing.
because I think a lot of people will look at someone like you where, you know, you're the single mom, you were in all these stores and they're just like, I think people think you just got lucky. Or
No, it's hard
you
work.
Exactly. A lot of people don't see the struggle and the actual process of working really hard and putting yourself out there, even through all the negative and difficult things.
And it was hard. I mean, it wasn't a piece of cake. Yes, I got lucky so many times, but you know, there were so many tears and so many, you know, breakdowns that I had of, I can't do this anymore. There's no way, but I still wanted to do it by myself. You know, I still had a mentality until I said, no, there's no way I can do this by myself. I need to trust people. And one of the things that I tell people when they share the same story, you know, like, oh my gosh, it's so hard for me to let other people come in. I said, this is the best thing you can do. Love those people. You know, love those people, care for them, because if you do, they're going to give that back to you and train them well. It's going to be a lot of hours of training somebody. But once you train those people, then you're going to trust that they're going to be doing a good job because they spend the time with them and, you know, treat them like a family because after all, you know, this is your baby and you want them to be part of that family, of the growth of that baby, whatever it is.
Do you have a mentor who really helped you during this process?
It was Jorge Fierro back then.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
but my husband has always been by my side
Every step of the way.
every step of the way.
Yeah.
Every step of the way. And I have to say this, but I have two ex-husbands that as much as I don't get along good with them sometimes, they have been a great, great support for me. When I have networking events, when I have to work, they both help me. And, I had 6 kids from one husband. And then I had another child from my last husband previous to this one. And they love all of my kids. There's no like, oh, he cannot come because no. I mean, my ex-husband that I have 6 kids with, he takes my other son with them camping.
That's so
or
wonderful.
to plays, and he watches him. He goes to school when I pick him up from school when I can, and vice versa. So
That's great.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I mean, especially ex-husbands.
I mean, my
they're not
gosh,
always-
if I can handle 3 guys, right? I must be doing something good. No, but it's been a whole team. A whole
Yeah.
team. It's not just here or there. It's the whole family, my mom.
That's great. That's great.
everybody.
Yeah.
Let's talk Salt Lake City a little bit.
Let's do
We
it.
always talk Salt Lake City on the podcast because, I mean, obviously we're a Salt Lake City podcast. What do you love about Salt Lake City? I mean, there's got to be something that you love more than other things. Does that make sense?
What are
some
your
people like
favorite
the
parts?
mountains. Some people like the city. Do you have a favorite thing about Salt Lake City?
When we moved from Mexico to here, we came here to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Well, we came to Provo for 4 years and then Salt Lake City. And this is home for me. This is home for me. I love waking up in the mornings and seeing the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
We live in Olympus Cove. So right there, Olympus Mountain is right there. And it's just so powerful.
Oh, yeah.
It makes me almost cry every time that I look at it because it reminds me of life. It's just so empowering and so big and just so beautiful. I love Salt Lake City. The only thing that I don't like is the winters last too long.
Yes.
But
You get out and ski at all? You ski?
I don't. I went skiing one time and I did not have a good time. So, I
So you're not a fan of getting cold?
no, I come from Mexico. I have warm blood and, I love the heat, not as hot, but, I think Salt Lake City is beautiful and is growing. And, the food industry is becoming way, way better than, I have ever seen it before. And it's wonderful to see a lot of my friends that are in the food industry grow. And, now they have their restaurants and they have delicious food. So it's great being here in Salt Lake with a community of food is still small enough where everybody and everybody supports you. And, it's such a great family town,
Yeah.
family city where the kids still, feel like they're still safe. And,
Yeah.
and downtown is gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
What are your favorite local eating spots? You mentioned friends with restaurants. Let's throw some names out people can
Yeah.
try. Like a listener, where would you tell them to go eat?
Okay, so my favorite Mexican restaurant, I have to say, is Chile Tepin.
Oh,
Have you guys
yes.
been
Yes,
Right
there?
there, right on
did.
300 West
Yeah, and 200.
200,
Right,
yes.
right when they
Yes.
opened up, we went.
I used to live
Amazing.
like
Oh,
right around
really?
the corner there. Actually, they're not far from here.
Yeah.
They're not far from great food.
I love the owner. He is amazing. He's a hard working person. I mean, every time I go there, he is sweating, busting his butt, working nonstop. And I love to see
You should
that.
get your salsa in
Yeah.
there.
I know, right? I've been talking to him. Hey, let's make a dish with this. But he doesn't like spicy. There's another Mexican that doesn't like spicy. So
Oh,
I don't
wow.
think he has tried that.
That's
And then
awesome.
I love Lassie's Kitchen. Am I saying that
Oh,
right?
Aziz.
LA.
Moody and Derek.
Moody and Derek.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, my
great
goodness.
individuals.
Oh, their
Yes.
food is so clean and just
It's so
so good. I think right now, those are my 2 favorite spots. I cook a lot at home.
Yeah.
So, like
Now, do you ever do your cooking classes in person, or are they all just on the channel too?
just on channel 2 right now, but I'm talking to Harmon. So, I might start doing some classes
That would be
with
so
them
great.
here and there so everybody can come in.
Yeah, I would
Let's
join
do
us.
it. Let's do
yeah.
it, Chrissy.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes, that would be super fun.
Well, plus it would just be fun to hang out with you.
I know,
know.
my gosh. Eat all day long.
I'm so down with that.
And some tequila for these
That's what I
hotties.
was gonna say. You said it, so I'm going with it.
What,
Bring tequila.
Would there be 1 or 2 things that you would change about Salt Lake City? Is there anything, or maybe not?
You know what? I like Salt Lake City as it is. Of course, the pollution is getting kind of crazy out there. So, just probably everybody to be more aware of that, just because it's kind of, we're kind of on the top high cities with the worst pollution. So,
people keep moving here. What do you do? We need people to move here. We need it. We need growth.
We do the growth, and it's going to happen.
We need a huge fan to blow all the pollution up over the mountains. That'll work, right?
Which one? North, south, east, or where?
Get some of that up in Park City. Their air is so good up there, right?
Yeah.
They need some of our pollution.
That's right. Blow it that way.
Or we'll get ourselves up there, right? I love Salt Lake City.
What are you excited about with summer coming up, right? Summer's right around the corner. I mean, it's a beautiful day today.
I love going and visiting farmers market. I know that we're not in any farmers markets yet right now, but I love supporting our friends at the farmers market, because I know how hard it is to set up a tent, to be there for long hours in the heat, and they're there every weekend to make us happy, and for us to support them, or for us not to support them will be like really sad.
Yeah.
So I love the farmers markets in the summer.
Do you know what I saw on your Facebook page that we have to do?
What?
Is get some farmers market corn on the cob and put some of somebody put the queso on it. Oh my gosh.
This is a funny thing, and I do not want to step on anybody's toes right here, but she is vegan. But she's been doing really good being vegan. But she said, Marba, I really been wanting to try the queso chipotle. And so I said, I have some corn at the house. And she said, let's do it.
Oh, that's so great.
So I made that, and she had it. She's like, oh, I feel so bad, but this is so good. So I'm not saying people out there to go and, break your rules or your principles or whatever. But, for whoever, can eat dairy and, can eat all these wonderful things, then, or not. Try them. Yeah. And, we have a lot of vegan options. The pico de gallo is amazing. And you said that you like guacamole, right?
Oh, I love guacamole.
So what we tell people, you couldn't get fresher guacamole than grabbing a pico from Salsa Queen, throwing a couple of avocados in there, mix it up, and I'd even let you take credit for it.
Really?
How's that?
I love it.
Yes.
What do you have, like a top seller? I mean,
our top seller is pico de gallo, just because people are more familiar with it. As Salt Lake City is growing and we're having more diversity, then people are more willing to try things. But still, right now everybody's familiar with the pico de gallo,
right.
So it's safe. So that's one of the reasons too that we sample our salsas, so people have the opportunity to try other things that they probably would have never tried, right?
Yeah, right.
And they're like, oh my gosh, this is really good.
Yeah.
So, it takes them out of their comfort zone, and, they're more willing to try things, which I love. I love people trying different products, different things. It's all about, the experience.
Expand your horizons,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything else you want to ask, Chrissy? I mean, while we kind of wrap this up, I want to make sure we're covering all the
basics
areas. Was there anything, Marba, we didn't talk about today that you want to make sure we talked about the products, the cooking classes, where people can find it? I'll put all the links at IamSaltLake.com.
The fact that we both love tequila. We bonded
right away. She had me a tequila.
Oh, yeah. What's a piece of advice that you would leave with everybody listening, though?
Like a life
piece.
Life advice.
Life advice. A lot of times we dwell on the bad experiences that we have in life, right? We're like, oh, why did this happen to me? And I've been there. I've been there plenty of times. I have suffered from depression in the past. So, I've been in some very dark places, but you always learn something good from those bad experiences, from bad or good. So when you feel like you're in your lowest, just remember that maybe a year from now, 6 months from now, you're going to be able to help somebody, or you're going to be able to look back and be like, I had to learn that for a reason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, just embrace life, whether it's good or bad, let your feelings be there, let them be exposed. If you're feeling sad, allow yourself to feel sad. If you're happy, embrace the moment, but embrace every single moment of life, because you never know how you can help somebody or yourself.
Yeah.
So.
What's your web address so people listening can come stock your Salsa Queen stuff?
So our website is salsaqueen.rocks.
I love that.
That is really cool.
Rocks.
Because we rock. No, yes, that's the only, salsaqueen.com was taken. So we're trying to get that. We're working on that. But right now we have salsaqueen.rocks. It's a very simple website just because we do not do much on our website. Mm-hmm. But I do try to post on Instagram and Facebook as much as I can. So you can follow up there, and we have recipes, and I have some small videos and stuff like that. So just remember to support local. I mean, Salt Lake City is an amazing city, and it's growing, and it's a beautiful place to be. And we as local businesses, we work really hard for you guys.
I love it.
That's a great place to end the show.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Marharba, for coming and doing this. Absolutely. And seriously, everybody listening, go check out all these salsas and dips and all that good
I'm
stuff.
gonna go eat
Salsa
all
to
of
die
them
for.
right now.
Yes, let's open it up. What is a tequila?
Thank you so much, Marharba.
Thank you so much, guys.
All righty. Many thanks again to Marharba for coming on this episode of the podcast. What a great conversation. I learned so much from her. And I mean, she brought her salsas and her chips. Head on over to our Facebook page. It's just facebook.com/IamSaltLake. We have a live video that we did with Marharba when she was here recording that interview. And head on over to our website, IamSaltLake.com/330. This is where all the links to connect with the Salsa Queen and all of the links mentioned in this podcast episode. Head on over there. It's also a good link to share it. Share this episode with your family and friends. Share it on social media, on Facebook or Twitter. Don't let this podcast be your dirty little secret. You know, so often I run into people and they're big podcast listeners, but they haven't started listening to I Am Salt Lake. And, you know, we put out a new episode every week. So I kind of feel bad for these people because they have so many episodes to catch up on of the podcast. Hey, before we completely close out of this episode, I want to let you know you can actually now rent our podcast studio here at Access Co-working Spaces. So now you can start your podcast without worrying about buying the right equipment. You know, I know how it was when I started this show. I didn't know what to buy, and I didn't know how to put all the pieces together for a podcast. We have it all set up right here. You can rent it by the hour. Get in touch with me. I'm going to give you all the details, and I can tell you everything. We can even set up a time for you to come and check it out. My email, best email to get a hold of me is chris@IamSaltLake.com. Get a hold of me. Let me know what you have going on. Let me know if you're interested. And even if you don't have a podcast, I can help you get that going as well. So reach out to me, get in touch. Again, my email address is chris@IamSaltLake.com. Let's talk podcasting. Hey, many thanks again to our sponsors for this episode, Five Wives Vodka, where you can pick it up at your local liquor store. Taylor Cooperative, you can book your fitting at taylorcooperative.com. And HostGator, get your website for only a penny by using promo code IamSaltLake when you sign up at HostGator.com. And of course, many thanks to Access Co-working Space for their hospitality, for hosting our podcast studio, and most of all, many thanks to you, the listener, for coming back week after week, episode after episode. You all have a great week. Get out and enjoy the city, support local, and we'll see you on the next episode.